Good morning, part-time family. This will be another fun, different video, but this one you are going to see some fish in. We are heading down the street to my local lake. For those of you that are curious, I love fishing Flanagan. This year I'm going to start telling you where I'm fishing, how I'm fishing. Look, I don't care. You guys can use my spots, use the baits. You say I go find the fish, but hopefully I can help you get on some fish and maybe your PB. So we're going to Flanagan. Nebraska Game Parks does pike tagging every year. And they try to catch them and try to catch ones they've tagged before to kind of record growth, see how the lake's doing, everything like that. Last year I helped out. I didn't bring the GoPro because I didn't know like what their thoughts on that would be. This year we're bringing you guys along, so I'm excited. I had a blast last year, learned a lot actually, so figured give you guys a look inside the conservation side of fishing. Maybe you'll learn something yourself, see some cool stuff. But sorry, a little stuffed up. I was doing really good surviving the cold, and now I caught the cold that was going around the office. So we're gonna blow our nose when we get up to the lake, get out, say hi to everybody. Yeah, and then we're just gonna have some fun, and like I said, hopefully you guys learn something along the way. Alright guys, so the microphone was picking up a bunch of wind, so I figured I'd do kind of a voiceover, explain what's going on. So we're coming up to the first buoy here, and the buoy is then attached to a big weight. So one of the guys that's helping volunteer as well grabs a hook, he hooks on, now he's pulling the rope to get to the weight, gonna get the weight in, and then the weight is actually attached to this very long, you guys are gonna see here, kind of net. There you go, you can see part of it coming up in the bottom there. And I forget this gentleman in front, but he's one of the guys that works for Game Parks. Now you got to grab that is the front of the net, the biggest opening. Start there so you don't lose any fish, and drag that in, drag it in, and boom. As you can see, there's a bunch of fish in this one. This was actually this one didn't have a bunch of fish, but there's a pike in there. So we're trying to tag the pike, and then we're also going to take some measurements on some of the crappie as well. So get the net untied. Takes a minute here. Sorry about that. But kind of the fun part is you get to see kind of where these fish kind of stock up. So this is the other side of the lake from the boat ramp. There's an opening to the right of us that goes into a little bit of a cove. So this is kind of seeing if they're going in and out of the cove, trying to catch them that way. So those little buoys that you saw, there's actually a longer net. So they kind of swim into the longer net, follow their way down to the big collection net, I guess. Now they're putting them on the bump board here. I wasn't able to get the best angle. I'll get some better angles here later on in the videos. But put them on the bump board here. They're gonna get a length measurement. Then they are sliding their thumb down towards basically the butt area of the fish, and see if either sperm or eggs come out to judge male or female. And then I believe this fish had a tag. Yep, this fish had a tag. So they just record the tag number. If it didn't, then they'll actually put a tag in there, which you guys will see here. Now the reason we put that pike back into the holding tank there that had some water is there was another group that was actually basically trying to collect any sperm and eggs, as many eggs and sperm as they could from all the pike, and are trying to actually grow them. Unfortunately, in our lakes we can't get any good growth. Water temps just get a little too warm, not enough fresh water moving. It's just not a good setup for pike in our area to reproduce on their own. So there was actually another group out of Plattsmouth that was down here, and they were doing all their collection stuff to hopefully get them to reproduce and be able to restock the lakes. So we have another boat coming over. He's coming. He's going to come collect this pike and then run this pike over. But I'm going to cut here, and we're going to head up into the channel. You guys will see there's actually a few more pike in that net.
All right, so this is the little, kind of looks like a horseshoe from the map angle. And there's one on the boat ramp side, actually where I caught my very first pike, very first time fishing out here. But the water temp just up in here, because it's about an 8-foot cut right down the middle, and then gets kind of shallower around the edges there. You got rock to the behind me, as you see in front, we got the bank, and the water temp's about a degree and a half warmer right up in here as well. And we go all the way to the back of this cove here, and it's gonna be the same process. One of the guys is get the hook, he's gonna hook onto the weight, or the buoy, excuse me, pull the weight in. I'm hopping up front. I'm actually gonna grab the net this time, I believe. Let's see here. Yep, so he hooks on, gets the buoy, starts pulling. I'm looking for the net here. Let's see, there's the net. Still a little submerged. Following. We're getting there. All right, I reach down. There we go. And I believe one of the guys helps me here too, because this net actually had a bunch of fish in it. So, yep, grab that in. It kind of was twisted up there, and we're pulling it, and you'll see here in a sec, this one had a bunch of pike, and some good sized ones here. Now, this is where I learned, you catch a female, and all the males come running. So, this one had a good number of pike. Once again, got the females, got the males. We got the other boat just follow us in here real quick, because apparently this net yesterday, the day before, actually had a really good number of pike as well. So just pulling the pike out, everything else goes. I don't think this net did not have any bass in it, so that was actually kind of cool to learn too. So not only am I out here helping them tag fish, learning a lot about that, it's giving me a kind of a breakdown of the lake. I would normally be on the boat right now fishing these coves, which, yeah, we'd be having a great time with pike right now. But there was no bass in this northern side, or sorry, southern side, dam side of the lake. There was a few crappie, nothing crazy, mostly bluegill and pike. I will admit here, when we get further in the video, you'll actually see we'll get into a lot more crappie. We'll get into some really good bass coming up here, and they're on the far north side of the lake. Water temps were actually, oh geez, we went from 30, I was like 5 or 6 degree increase. We were at 35 to 40. And the main guy that was driving the boat, he's the man in charge. He was kind of explaining to us how the water temps actually have a huge play, which, I mean, as a fisherman, you know that, but I didn't realize a couple degree difference, and there's the fish. I mean, 1 to 2 degrees difference just in this cove, and there's a lot more pike. Then we go north, and all of a sudden you start seeing the crappie, you start seeing the bass. So getting all the fish shook down. We're throwing back the bluegill. We're trying to get everything out. There's, man, we were finding some big old bullhead catfish. I'm not sure if it'll make the video, but we did find one good channel cat as well. Nothing crazy size, but just decent sized channel cat. So get everything shaken down. And I won't show this much detail of every net we check. We did check quite a few, but I figured this one was a good one here, so figured I'd kind of show you a little bit more of it here. There we go. We had a pike actually get stuck. He wasn't wanting to go down the hole. I believe the gentleman that's up top there, one of the game parks guy, he actually just says forget it and just starts reaching in from the top there. Pike do not like to they just do their own thing. So we just said, yep, forget it. Oh, there he went. Nope, he actually slid down. There he goes. All the way down. I had him. There we go, into the tub. All right, so let's see. Grab a lot of little bluegill. This was the curious part too. I didn't realize. Now, I mean, this makes sense. This is what these pike are actually feeding on too. So it's again, learning what forage is up here. Why are the pike here? Obviously the water temp, the shallows, they love spawning in that area. But there's also great food source for them. A lot of the small bluegill for them. So they start pulling some pike out, and I believe this is where he's like, hey, I need a hand, because these things are super slimy. They love to roll, they love to bounce around, flap around, so it takes a couple hands to hold them down, just to kind of make sure everything's getting measured right. See what's going on here. I don't remember exactly what we were talking about here. Oh, they were letting the other guy know to go ahead and pull up next to us here. We actually catch the boat real quick. This way we could measure, and then if there are any good ones to go, or the term they were using was green fish, meaning we'd go to squeeze them and no sperm was coming out, no eggs were coming out. They weren't ready yet to either spawn, or they already had spawned, whatever the case be. So the green fish we then put back in the lake. We did not put back into the hold to take over to get drained out for spawning. So you saw they took the first pike out, same process. Get a good measurement on it, make sure you pinch the tail, mouth to the board, mouth closed. Check to see if it had a tag number. If it has a tag number, read the tag number. If it doesn't, we do wind up putting a tag in it. And yep, I do walk over here to help kind of hold the fish down. So I'm making sure that the mouth is pinched. I'm making sure the fish stays nose to the board. I wish I had the camera tilted a little better there for you guys. I do apologize. But yeah, he's kind of running his thumb firmly down the center of the belly towards the tail, close to the butt area, and seeing what comes out. And then we're handing it off. I believe that might have been a good male, so handing him off to get drained. There you go. Now you can kind of see it a little different. So he's grabbing, and you see this is why we've got to kind of hold him down, pinch him down. So now he's grabbing the gun and put these little tags in. So now as an angler myself, I've caught a couple of these. We catch one, there's a phone number you call, as well as a tag number. So you take that tag number, hopefully you got some sort of bump board or something. They just want to know kind of the measurement of the fish. That way they can update their information, so when they come out next year, if they catch that same fish, they can go, oh, hey, when we tagged him, he was, for example, 25 inches. When he was caught maybe like 6 months later, he grew 2 inches or was the same. Then next year, oh, hey, he came in a net and he's grown or stayed the same, so they can kind of record it. Now this was a very nice bull fat female, I believe. Oh, that hit the deck. Not what we want to have happen, but, or was this might have been one of those greens. Yep, checking it, trying to check it, see what was going on, see if it was a male, female. I believe this may have been one of those ones they call a green fish. Yep. So this one was tagged before, wasn't ready, send him back. Now this was one of our more full nets, so that's really why I wanted to kind of have you guys see this one, see kind of what's going on, and then I'll kind of speed up through some of the other ones. We'll pause when we get to one of the ones more north. That one got a lot more interesting, so we kind of repeat this process. So I'll leave it here. You guys kind of got a good idea of what's going on with now, you know, kind of the process of what's going on. As you see, there's some good fish. But like I said, let me get you to the ones a little more north. We had our biggest pike of the day, as well as some really good bass that hit one of the nets. So let's get to that one. right, so we made that nice long haul all the way to the very north side of the lake. And what makes this spot even more different, I guess, is we're now into like it went from super shallow, we barely got this flat bottom boat through, to now we're in a pocket. And as you saw, there was a little bit of rock there. There's actually the inlet from the feeder pond that's just above that connects to the little bit of the river. So we had this one on the right side. If we're looking at the inlet, we're off to the right, which is the northeast side, kind of going towards the hole, so from shallow to deep. And this one necessarily wasn't loaded as much as it just had some very big pike in it. We're getting close. These are where we pulled out, I think, 1 or 2 that were in that 30 to 35 inch range here, but just absolutely fat. One of them was starting to leak eggs out, so we tried to stop that so we get that fish over to get those eggs collected. So let me speed up through this. Alright, so we got all the big pike out of the net, threw back everything else, took a few of the crappie as well, because like I said, they're trying to measure that, and boom, first one on the board. Good fish. I'm super stoked catching this fish. Like I said, for anybody that doesn't know, we are chasing that 40-inch mark. We did not get any 40 inches in the nets, but man, next net you'll see we got really close. So we had a few of these good ones pull through. And then we did measure some of the crappie as well. Now, the reason we were measuring crappie and kind of taking note of how many we had in some of the nets was because this was the first year at this lake you could actually start keeping fish. Now, bass in Nebraska, it's such a weird thing, but 21 inches plus. Now, we don't get a lot of big bass anyways, but sapphires are, so people like keep those bigger bass. Pike are still catch and release because, like I was saying, they just aren't reproducing on their own. And then bluegill, you can now start keeping under 8 inches. And the reason is they're trying to create a trophy panfish lake here. And there's just so many that at bluegill that we were getting that were in that 6-7 range. And then crappie under 10 inches, which I thought this winter with all the ice fishermen for myself, that I just would have hurt the numbers. Not the case. The numbers did not get hurt at all. And there are a ton of those 8-inch crappie to 9-inch crappie in there that, yeah, go catch your legal limit. Enjoy, have a good fish fry. Did not hurt the fishery one bit. So learned a lot there because, like I said, as someone that didn't understand it, I was freaking out going, oh man, this is going to hurt the fishery. No. The way they broke down why it's good to keep in this instance, there's just too many. I was choking them out. They were also talking about maybe next year when they come down, they're redoing one of the lakes closer to the house as well. That maybe they collect some of these 8-9 inch crappie and transport those to the new lake to kind of help get that one jump started as well. So once again, doing the same measurements on these pike, finding some of them have eggs going, some have sperm going. So we'll cut from this one and we'll get to the next net because this is where you guys will see we had some bigger crappie, but we also had some bigger bass in there. And then the big pike. So we'll get to that one. All right, so we just pulled up the net literally right across the way. You can kind of see it almost behind us there. And we're starting to pull out some of the pike, and we are all like blown away. The 2 older guys and myself are like, man, oh, there's one of the bigger pike. Or no, that wasn't the bigger pike, but there were some big bass in there. I think the one the guy pulled out was close to 5, if not at 5. There was a couple of 3s in the net that we actually didn't even pull out. We just want to dump the net just because there's way too many fish in this net to even try to count. We already had plenty of crappie to count for the time. And then this is where they're, nope, here it is. This was 38.5 inch long. Boom. Big, gorgeous female that we got pulled out. So wound up just getting the rest of these fish pulled out of there. And then, like I said, we wound up just dumping the rest of them. There were some giant bullhead, big slab crappie. I think the biggest ones we measured was 13 inches. Obviously, though, go check out the Instagram. I did get my biggest crappie out of here. It's been 3 years now. 3 years ago, it was 17 inches, 3 pounds. I don't know if I'll see another crappie like that. Hopefully I do. Obviously we keep after it, but it's good to see that there are some big crappie in here. We just gotta weed out some of the small ones first.
Let's grab her. There she is.
That is a fish there.
Yep. 938.
938. Coming towards you.
Not get all back in hand. She's probably under.
Not right.
That's all right. We'll just let her go then.
Okay.
You want Tiger?
Well, hold on. We gotta see the other side. I don't know if she's got one in her.
No.
Okay. Yep.
Squeeze.
Turn.
Okay.
How long is it?
937. Is that what I said?
So what's 40 inches on that?
That's like
2020?
38 right there. So.
I was like, she looks like the one I caught.
No, she's not right.
You could throw her in the boat if anybody wants a picture. Let's just throw her in there.
Now we did check a few more nets after that one. Nothing too exciting. Like I said, we found a couple. We actually zeroed on a net, moved it, trying to do something better. It was a fun day though. It was about 4 hours on the water helping them do this. Great opportunity. I'm glad that they actually allow volunteers to come out. It's a great learning experience. One of the other boats had a younger fisherman out with his, I believe, dad or friend or family. So it was really cool that they let us do this. Great experience. Like I said, A, I learned a lot about the lake. B, I learned a lot about the species of pike. I love catching them, but I didn't realize some of about the water temp stuff and exactly what the water temp, spawning, stuff like that. Didn't realize that they just do not reproduce here in Omaha. We got some lakes west of us that they do kind of start to reproduce in, but just not here, unfortunately. So it was kind of cool to learn all about that. So I highly encourage getting out, checking in with your game and parks, DNR, whoever runs and manages your lakes and reservoirs. See if they do any programs like this. See if they do any volunteer things. Trust me, it's a great time. You're going to learn a lot. You'll get out, and really you're going to meet some other fishermen or other folks that, you know, love the water, love the fishery. So shout out to Nebraska Game and Parks. Thank you for allowing me to come out and record this time around. Appreciate the opportunity. I can't wait to come back out next year, guys. Wait for that video. The fish are going to get even bigger. I'm excited. Obviously, stay with me because we're going to fish this lake a lot this season as well. Whereas, like I said, we're still chasing that 40-inch pike. Maybe we'll see the big mythical crappie again. Like I said, I do have photos of it there. So, shout out to these guys. And then, as well as the guys sitting here on the dock, these were the guys that were actually extracting the eggs and the sperm from the pike and hopefully getting some fertilized eggs going, and we can get some more of them stocked in here and have some fun. Man, anybody that says they don't like catching pike, I don't know what's wrong with you. A good pike hit, and it's just a blast. I get it during a tournament, they can be annoying, but I love catching them when it's not tournament time. So, but like I said, guys, shout out to Game and Parks. Go check in with your local game parks as well. Maybe they have some cool volunteer stuff like this. Get out, help clean up a lake, do something. Anything you can do to help out these programs, they appreciate it, and it's a great learning experience. So, as always, guys, good luck on the water, and I hope to see you out there.